Coming up tonight, Prime Minister Philip Davis closes out the Climate Change Youth Forum, saying many nation leaders have not lived up to their commitment. Plus, just after the world-famous Valley Boys announces its return to Junkanoo, the Winston Gus Cooper Manor opens. And our Jean Joseph explores wizardry in this week's arts and entertainment segment. This is our News Weekend edition. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. The first regional youth conference on climate change coming to a close last night at the University of the Bahamas. Young people from across the region spent the past 3 days engaging in deep discussions to come up with innovative ways to fight the effects of climate change. The best and brightest young people from countries across the region bringing their voices together to formulate a number of proposed acts, programs, and initiatives that they hope world leaders would adopt to tackle climate change. Junior student at the University of the Bahamas, Ashanti Russell, speaking on behalf of the collective to share the group's final recommendations.
We demand for financial and capacity support for the establishment of a Youth for Climate Action Facility to assist in the funding and support of programs and projects aimed at developing and expanding youth participation in local, regional, and global climate action. Potential projects and programs that the youth have identified as priorities are inclusive of national hurricane response plans that include the youth in the planning and development.
The document was presented to Prime Minister Philip Davis, who commended the group on their efforts. He says since COP26, some 8 months ago, not only have world leaders not followed through with their commitments, they have compounded the issue.
Their commitments to reduce their carbon emissions and to provide financial support to vulnerable countries have yet to materialize. In fact, the shortages in energy, food and other supplies caused by the invasion of Ukraine and the post-COVID supply chain challenges have led some developed countries to increase rather than decrease their reliance on fossil fuels.
He says his administration is committed to the fight.
And one of the first climate initiatives that my government has set forward is the development of a Climate Change and Climate Markets Initiative Act, which will ensure compliance by the Bahamas to reduce its greenhouse gas levels while also being transparent. This act will also enable the government to create incentives and implement initiatives to support the overall global target of greenhouse gas emissions reduction.
Having been elected just a few weeks ago, back on June 24th, Dickon Mitchell is the youngest prime minister in Grenada's history. In fact, at this week's 43rd regular meeting of CARICOM heads in Suriname, Mitchell was the youngest head of state present. He spoke with our Sasha Lightborn about being elected at such a young age, noting that he has been humbled by his entire career in politics thus far.
Probably haven't had a lot of time to reflect on it. Elections was only on the 23rd. I think it's a triumph for democracy, first and foremost, and it's a triumph for the confidence that our citizens see in our young people. I'm probably a little older than I look, but that aside, I think really it's a triumph for recognizing that we can move from one generation to the next. One generation has to run the baton, pass that baton over, and I think having the confidence to get involved in public life, to get involved in politics, to offer oneself is the first step. And then the nation has to have that confidence in you. So I'm really humbled by the fact that the nation has placed that confidence in me.
Mitchell added that 3 of his parliamentary colleagues are under the age of 30, and he vowed that during this meeting at CARICOM, he would impress upon the other leaders to get young people more involved in governance in their respective countries.
Part of the challenge I think we face is that oftentimes there's a massive disconnect between leaders, the decisions that are made, and the impact on our young people. And in my view, given that the majority of our population is 30 and under, if we really want to transform our communities, if we really want to transform the Caribbean, we must, in my view, at a very early stage, give our young people the confidence that they can lead and they can get involved in policy in public life and in politics. Because if not, then we would have persons making decisions for them that will stay with them for the next 20, 30 years, but they are not having a real, genuine opportunity to say or have a say in those decisions. So it's critical from our perspective, I think, to ensure that our young people, not just lip service, but are actually involved in public life.
The CARICOM meeting in Suriname officially ended on Wednesday. Applauding the lack of blackouts in recent time, President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Kyle Wilson, says after a meeting with the company's CEO, there are no major concerns.
Based on the conversation I had with the CEO, some of the concerns that I would have had from the union standpoint, he was able to address them firmly, and he was able to answer some of my questions. And so, well, if not even all of my questions to some degree, I may not have gotten the answer that I may have wanted, but he was able to express his views on a lot of issues, and I'm happy with the outcome from the meeting today.
Meantime, Transport Minister JoBeth Colby Davis says an update on the construction of a post office will be given within the next 2 months. She says it's important to give the project started as soon as possible.
We're looking to build a permanent location for them as opposed to just relocate them to another area, because it just would be the same kind of issues we're having now.
Just after the break, some say the Bahamas should prepare for a negative impact due to the war on Ukraine. Plus, an independence fitness challenge from our intern, Joshua Williams. And just after the world-famous Valley Boys announces its return to Junkanoo, the Winston Gus Cooper Manor is now officially open. That's coming up when our news returns from the break. You're watching our news weekend edition. Welcome back. Arawak Homes naming one of their newest subdivisions after cultural icon Winston Gus Cooper. The subdivision, nestled just off Faith Avenue, already has 3 fully constructed homes and more than a dozen to come. Our Sasha Lightborn attended the official opening of Winston Gus Cooper Manor and filed this report.
Remembering a friend who has passed away is not an easy task, but for former Prime Minister Perry Christie, it was an honor to bring the keynote address at the official opening of Winston Gus Cooper Manor. While many remember Cooper as a Junkanoo icon and cultural legend, Christie described him as his brother, his friend, and a true statesman. Christie also thanking Arawak Homes executives for naming the new subdivision in Cooper's honor and is encouraging senior cabinet ministers to ensure that more is done for Gus Cooper. Christie says honoring Cooper during the country's 50th anniversary of independence next year would be a good start.
The honor that you give him today must be the minister a step in the direction of elevating people who have given much to the strengthening, the Greek call it the ethos of our country, but that characteristic spirit that binds us together as Bahamians. But this occasion richly deserves the elevation of my brother, our friend, to that of a national status. And Mr. Wilson, in that regard, you have served your nation well.
Gus Cooper died in 2014 at the age of 72. His wife, Cassandra Cooper, says she was elated that Arawak Homes honored her late husband, but says more needs to be done at the government level.
He did a lot of work for the Bahamas, for us, and so I'm looking forward to them doing something for him. Even though he's gone, but the children and the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren would remember. But he's gone. But I have a lot to see more done for him. And like other nations, Trinidad and all, they are paid to do what he's been doing for free for years, using his own money. He did that for many, many years. When he died, we were married 49 years. So I appreciate if they do something else for him.
Chairman of the Valley Boys Junkanoo Group, Brian Adderley, also weighing in.
Gus Cooper was a mentor to all of us. He was a man that had high standards and discipline in everything that he did. So we're grateful for Arawak Homes for honoring him in this regard, and also by paying respect to his contributions and to his family for the sacrifices and contributions he made to the Bahamas, not just as someone who's been involved in culture in Junkanoo, but also for his dedication of service to the country.
Winston Gus Cooper Manor is a 21-lot subdivision. 3 homes have been completed so far and 16 lots have been sold. Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
On February 24th, Putin sent armed forces into Ukraine, advancing a war which started in 2014. To date, Ukraine continues to be bombarded by Russian forces. Although resilient, Ukrainians are suffering and their cities are being destroyed, leaving many fleeing the embattled country. While the Bahamas is making strides in its economic rebound post-pandemic, it is also being said that Bahamians should prepare for negative impacts due to the ongoing war in Ukraine. The Bahamas has been named as one of the 8 countries in the Western Hemisphere most vulnerable to war, particularly due to our reliance on imported food and oil. While this may not impact the country immediately, experts are warning that the nation's leaders should begin to think about the long-term impacts. And when our news comes back from the break, an Independence Fitness Challenge, the details to come from our Joshua Williams. And Independence Vibes hits the nail salon. That's coming up in our Generation Next segment when our news weekend edition returns. Don't blink and don't touch that remote. And now it's time to get active and move. The Bahamas celebrating National Wellness Day on Wednesday, where persons were encouraged to take the 49 Wellness Challenge in observance of 49 years of independence. One of our summer interns took that challenge. Let's see how he did.
Citizens of the Bahamas are celebrating National Wellness Day. And in light of 49 years of independence, we're going to be taking the 49 Wellness Challenge. I'm all changed. Let's get into it.
You got to celebrate now. This is for independence, so you got to go all day. What do you say?
Push-ups, burpees, squats. The task presented was indeed a daunting one. Drinking 49 ounces of water, taking 4,900 steps, exercising for 49 minutes, and also meditating for 49 minutes would not be easy. However, Coach Jay stopped by to give advice and lend a helping hand.
So I always encourage people to start where you're at and don't let time or funds be a reason why you cannot start your exercise program. But the thing is important for people like me and others in the industry is when you need that specific training and you need someone to help, more of an accountability partner, somebody who could give you a structured workout for what your goals are when it comes to making sure your goals are specific, because you might have a particular goal and do not know how to go about it, and there's only so much reading you can do, but someone who could put it into a practical application.
Coach Jay also appealing for persons to take their health seriously.
I just want people to take their wellness journey serious. I want people to understand that Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's going to take time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Remember, just like any journey to success, it's going to be peaks and valleys. It's how we ride the wave of the peaks and the valleys. So be kind to yourself, be patient to yourself, start and surround yourself with people who are on the same mission that you are.
Check out the Our News social media pages for a full breakdown from Coach Jay of these exercises. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Good job, Joshua. You look fitter already. Well, businesses, roundabouts, and even vehicles have been adorned with the Bahamian colors as we prepare to celebrate Independence Day. But 22-year-old Carol Gardner has given us a new option, Bahamian Pride for your fingernails.
For Independence, I decided to bring out some blue, yellow, and black designs, 242 flamingos, arts, and everything. They love the idea. They love the blue, black, and yellow. They love getting the yellow welder, the flower, even Bahamian quotes and things on their nails, and the drawings of some of the islands to represent that island. It's really been, they just really like it.
Gardner attended Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute post-high school, which gave her a strong cosmetology foundation. However, she says she fine-tuned her skills through consistent practice and YouTube tutorials.
I started to draw cartoon characters, and from cartoon characters, I went to caricatures, drawing people in cartoon form, and now I'm on my journey to drawing portraits and realistic drawings.
And as you could imagine, she says one set can take up to several hours.
When I first started drawing on nails, actually took me about hours, 7 hours just sitting down. And the nails are really small, so it would be practice until I get it.
She says thus far her favorite part of her journey has been the growth and executing a client's vision.
My customers come to me with specific designs and drawings, and I just love making nails for my clients and seeing the satisfied look on their face when they get whatever they ask for, and it's just really a very interesting experience.
Gardner says while she's not where she wants to be as yet, she looks forward to her journey. Here's her advice to other young people about following their passions.
The road you decide to take, that's up to you, but whatever you do, there's always going to be challenges that you have to be ready to face and be ready to just believe in yourself and keep at it, keep going.
Still to come, it's Independence Weekend. Will we have showers or sunny skies? The details up next in our weather forecast. And our Jean Joseph is on the arts and entertainment beats, conjuring up a little wizardry. That's coming up when our news weekend edition returns. Welcome back to Weekend Edition. We're in the middle of the Independence Weekend. Weather is very important, so let's take a look at what we're in for. Grand Bahama native Darren Palacios, better known as a wizard to his fans, says he wants to ensure that Bahamians from all generations realize how great we are as a nation with his new video, 242. Our Jean Joseph says he tried to uncover Wizard's spell.
Yo, what's good, 242? It's your boy, Wizard, and I come to tell y'all, I Bahamian. We the best in the world, bro, and I can keep saying not till the world know.
Wizard is a proud Bahamian artist who uses his music to promote Bahamian pride. His newest release, 242, is a continuation of themes he explored in earlier works. He says he always wanted to be involved in music and remembers frequently expressing himself to his peers and teachers at any opportunity in his earlier years.
That was my first performance on stage in grade 6 assembly, and ever since then, I fell in love with it and just continued to do it ever since.
This artist uses his Bahamian accent and dialect to remain true to his roots, even though he does not perform rake and scrape music.
The genre that I classify myself is in rock, and my style, I'd say, just being real, always be authentic, just speak about anything relatable.
Wizard says his latest video, 242, highlights many of the feats that Bahamians have accomplished, making a mark on the world stage despite the nation's relatively small size.
Sometimes it goes unnoticed that from a small country, we did huge things. How much people could say they had the #1 pick in the NBA draft? How much people could say that they have the best player in the WNBA? How much people could say they win the Olympics in the fall? All this in the same time, in the same time frame. So I just wanted to remind people that we did some excellent things.
Wizard says he only got to scratch the surface in this song and says he has plans to release more music soon. In the meantime, he invites you to connect with him on social media. He wants to leave this message as the Bahamas prepares to celebrate its 49th independence.
Never forget where you're from, and just never forget that it's one of the best places on earth. People vacate here. People take that vacation to come here. People spend their money to come here. But we live here. And sometimes we take that for granted.
I'm Jean Joseph with your arts and entertainment. And here's Wizard with some 242 pride. Enjoy.
Hey, Bahamian, we the best in the world, bro. I can keep saying that till the world know. And now it's just a small line. How I feel, baby, the greatest of all time. We in the image of God's eye.
Good stuff, Jean and Wizard. And thank you so much for joining us for our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Continue to have a safe and wonderful holiday weekend.